Well, hello, everyone. It is Prince Michael, and welcome back to the chat. We are your lovely hosts. We have the stepologist herself, Regina Platt. We have the pretty girl that wears 20 pearls, Miss Ebony Saunders, and we are going to go ahead and just jump right into it. So, first and foremost, when this airs, this is Father's Day week. So, first and foremost, happy Father's Day. To all of the daddies that are out there, happy Father's Day. We love you. We gave a whole lot of love to our mothers that are out there. So we got to give you guys some love too, because you all are just as important as our mothers. So happy Father's Day. And that's all I got on Happy Father's Day, y'all. That's all I got. So it's also going to be Juneteenth, the same day as Father's Day. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of history on Juneteenth, okay? And then we're going to just jump into the conversation because I want you all to know that Juneteenth is very important, especially to African Americans. It is extremely important. However, it needs to be important to everybody because we celebrate Independence Day of our nation on July 4th. However, everyone was not free on July 4th. What day independence was? Child, don't ask me that. I was horrible at history. I'm pretty sure the stepologist can tell you that. When was Independence Day? What year was that?
I don't know.
Child, she's trying to make me feel good, but it's okay because you are like a well of knowledge, okay? Like a wealth of knowledge. Anyway, so I wanted to go ahead and jump into that. So first and foremost, so Juneteenth, basically after the Confederates lost and they were all beaten up and stuff, right? We had these individuals that went state to state because a lot of slaves did not know that they were free. It was April of 1860. No, 1860. No, I think it was 1863. This happened. And it was like, oh my gosh, we're all officially free. But a lot of people were still enslaved because they had no idea that they were free. So they went state to state, letting everyone know, hey, you are free. You don't have to do this. The very last state was June 19th, 1865. And this is when they got there. They're like, hey, we just want to let y'all know y'all are free. What I found very interesting about this is that Texas, Lord have mercy. I have a love-hate relationship with Texas, okay? Everything in Texas is big, even the mosquitoes. But anyway, Texas was the very last state during that time to acknowledge that, okay, the slaves are free. However, it was actually the first in 1980 to acknowledge Juneteenth, which I thought was very
1979.
Mm-hmm.
1979.
Come on now.
I'm sorry. And I want to jump in on this because it's not that Texas had not been told that the Emancipation Proclamation had taken place. It's not that they had not been told. They refused to take action and do as they were being led to do, as it would have been documented that they were supposed to do. And so when we think about that, a lot of times we're being held in bondage by people who already know we're righteously supposed to be free, that we righteously got favor, that it's obtainable for us, but choose to not give the information out. Right. So as we talk about racial justice, even as we're talking about today, the social justice movement, we're doing a lot of work to feed the white body to give them an understanding about what went wrong and how it went wrong. But the bodies of color, the BIPOC community, a lot of times is not receiving access to the same information. And so when you go back and you think about this, like, to be enslaved and you hear the master and his wife or the white body individuals, those that are enslaving, oppression, having conversations about what they're supposed to be doing and what they're not going to do. I'm sorry, I had a little passion, but I'm going to go back and swing low over there to Mr. Prince to continue to talk.
No, honestly, no. Honey, I'm here for it. I am here for it. But I was going to say this. Isn't it interesting that the reason that our ancestors were still enslaved, because it wasn't that long ago, okay? It was not that long ago. But isn't it interesting that our ancestors that were enslaved, they were enslaved because they did not know. They didn't know that they were free.
Mm.
However, we are in a society now where all the knowledge that you can possibly have is at your fingertips, but people still choose now to not know. Which brings me to our very first point. Why do you believe that people are still not wanting to go out and accept the fact that, hey, I'm free, but now I have the opportunity to learn and do anything that I want? And you have people from other countries that come here and show up and show out. Ebony, I want to go to you.
Well, I mean, in 2022, I think part of that answer lies in we may not be in bondage when it comes to being property of someone else's, but we are absolutely enslaved to the media. We are enslaved to our own intercultural perspectives and issues. We are enslaved to believe, oh, don't get me started on finances. We are enslaved to believe that we mean something as long as we are purchasing a specific thing. So it's not that we are not in bondage as we would remember it historically, but in a lot of ways we are, just in different facets. So bondage has turned into something else. Now it's bondage of the mind instead of bondage of the body. And so, it's bondage hasn't gone anywhere. It's just changed gears. That's all that is.
Well, hold on, because I see Regina over here, baby, and she got the lips poking out. She's scratching the head. She got the baby. She got the rock going on. I'm like, oh, let me loose the reins, baby. Let me loose the reins. Go ahead, girl, because you feel like you about to fall off.
Because the pretty girl that wears pearls is over there tracking them, just running over them with the tractor on the field. And I just love it. Because one of the things that we notice is there's a shift, right? There was a period of time within a nation that, and they recognized that if they took over the body, that eventually they could gain control of the mind. But then a shift happens and they gain the understanding that now we got to let the body go, because by law, we got to let the body go, but let's capture them in the mind. Let's entrap them in the mind. Let's limit their access still. They don't need to know all that. We're going to give them just what they need to know. We're going to tell them what they can do. We're going to educate them in lower income published school systems where we give them old historical books that, when I say historical, because you know that wasn't in the generation that they lived in. So now they educate them off books that came from when their mom and daddy them was little people, and making sure they maintain the information. When you look into the history books, you're seeing what you see as a black body, which is a powerful body. All bodies are powerful because all bodies are meant to be whole. You're seeing and captured, enslaved, belittled, put down, violent, broken, confused. And so they know that what you see is what you become. And so on television shows, they put out their brokenness. Music wise, they throw the broken pieces out. Music was a way, even when you go back and research, go through music of all genres, it was a way of publicly communicating what was needed in society at the time. It was a way of standing up. It was a way of speaking out. It was a way of causing us to move forward, because the music was a way to take a stand. And so as you think about that shift happening, and now when our young people pick up music, the music is talking about how broke they is and how down they is and how this and right? But there was a time where music, all the political movements that's taking place right now, all the shaming, all the brokenness, all the isolation taking place right now, you ain't heard nothing about it. You get limited. Little Baby came out with a little piece as we was protesting the other year, but it's not to the abundance, to the peace where it empowers them to step forward in their righteous anger and not in their brokenness, right? And so I watch and I hear and I receive and I set up under it and I just partake of it. But one of the things I wanted to say, one of the impoverished things that I see is people are overspending, and we are slaves to mammon. And I watch how people go after the next bigger this, the next bigger that. But I sat in the store this weekend with a music producer, and I sat in the store in the Coach store with a film director, and we walking around in the store. And one thing I noticed as we're in the Coach store and we're walking around, they got all this pretty stuff in the store. All this pretty stuff in the store. But I watched them strategically shop for purpose. Now they want the Coach bag because it's quality, and that Coach gonna take care of them if something go wrong with what they manufacture, which is quality. But I watched the women move in the men's section, where the men's section had quality in a way that it was durable to do what they was called to do. And so they needed thick straps. They didn't need the little bitty strap, right? They need a back where they can put their computer in it. They need a backpack that was going to be sustainable, that as they went out to get their money, right, they looked like money. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, I'm watching people that know they ain't got the money in their store, wasting money and trying to figure out how to make $1 out of 15 cents. And even these women, as they stand here, is like, oh, they got 60% off on that. I'm going to need the 60%. Y'all got 15 too. And it wasn't that they couldn't buy the bag. It wasn't that they couldn't buy that full price. But they was like, if they running discounts, I'm going to get mine too. And I was like, just again, looking around the store going, now she knows she ain't got the money to buy that bag. You can tell because she looking for cute. She looking for cute. And they're looking around to see what everybody else doing while they shopping. These women was in the mirror like, how this, she's like shaking it and moving it. I'm like, it didn't have nothing to do with cute. It had something to do with it serving a purpose out of their pocket. But y'all gone. And
girl, because you see I'm sitting over here, I'm trying to maintain my composure, okay?
Come on, talk to me.
I'm trying. So, because you said a whole lot, baby. You said a whole lot, and I came to dissect everything that you just said.
Talk to me. Let me get my pen and paper. Talk to me.
You know, first of all, okay, I will definitely say that so the part of Miami that I grew up in is always on the first 48, okay? And what I thought was so interesting growing up is that nobody wanted to look like they were broke. I don't think anybody does. Everybody wants to look nice, okay? However, I noticed that people would literally go out of their way to make sure they'd rather go and buy a fake Louis Vuitton bag and make it look like they had something, or they'd spend their last to go and buy that Louis Vuitton or those red bottom Louis Vuitton shoes to make sure that they look like they had what they don't, to impress people that don't even like them. So what I thought was so interesting about it is it's the mindset of the people. However, it's the mindset that people are allowing to come into their homes. It's the mindset that people are allowing to come in between their ears, because when nobody forces you to listen to anything, I get it. The media is very powerful. I understand that. I already said I don't think Beyonce can sing. Yes, I did say it. She can sing, but she can't sing. If Beyonce were in the 90s with Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, and let's say that you had Beyonce as a solo artist and you had Jennifer Hudson as a solo artist, Jennifer Hudson would have blown past her simply because Jennifer Hudson was during the era where people wanted to hear singers. They wanted singers. They wanted people that could actually get up there and belt out notes. Beyonce can't do that. So fast forward, when I listen to these songs and things like that, most of these artists, I have no idea. My little cousin came to visit me in Atlanta. She looked up something called the Trap House Museum. And I was like, the what? And she goes, it's the Trap House Museum. We gotta go. I said, okay. So we get there. And I had seen it on Instagram, but I had no idea what it was. I just saw this pink Cadillac and I'm like, oh, that's an old, ugly Cadillac. But anyway, no shade to the color pink, no shade to Cadillacs. But I was just like, oh, that's ugly. It ain't my taste. But anyway, so fast forward, we get in and there was like this photo of all of these artists. The only artist that I knew that was on there was the Notorious B.I.G., and what is the guy's name? Jay-Z. That was it. It was about 20 of them on there. And I was like, who are these people? She was like, oh, these are artists. I was like, really? I had no idea who they were because one, I don't listen to the radio. If I get on and everything is murder, death, kill, I'm getting off. I don't want to hear it because I'm from the generation that wanted to hear actual music. So in terms of what's going on in people's heads, that's simply because they are choosing to put that there. Have you ever listened to a Lil Wayne album? And this is no slight to Lil Wayne or anybody, but have you ever listened to one of his albums? A lot of people had issues with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and Tupac and all of them in the 90s because of their lyrics. However, it was their life that they were actually living. If you listen to Tupac's lyrics, Tupac actually said a whole lot of stuff. And since a man can't make one, he has the right to tell him he has the right to tell a woman when and where to create one. He was talking about children. And now it's so interesting. Years later, the women are still fighting that same battle with someone else, a man still telling them that, hey, no, your body does not belong to you, which honestly, I think actually breeds a person being sexually assaulted because, oh, well, your body does not belong to you. I tell you what your body is. So moving forward, in terms of financial literacy is no longer taught in the homes. Every time an African-American person decided to do something that meant something to get somewhere, what ended up happening is you had people, they tore down their buildings, they burned down their buildings, they were assaulted in the streets because there was no protection for them. And now even, these things happen after slavery, like with Black Wall Street in Tulsa. What happens is now that's passed down. Oh, don't do that, which is one of the reasons I believe that when you tell a brother or a sister, oh, yeah, I just started that business, the first thing that they do is want to tear you down with it. The first thing that they want to do. And it's not all of them, but the majority of them want to do that because it is a defense mechanism to try and keep you safe. Because what happened prior.
Are you suggesting crabs in a barrel?
Crabs never belonged in a barrel in the first place. So
I agree with you. I agree with you. But oftentimes when we discuss how, especially in the Black community, somebody cannot get out and do anything positive without 5 other folks behind them, either dragging their name through the mud, trying to tear them down. That historically reminds me of crabs in a barrel. Nobody can make it to the top for somebody. Here come they right behind them trying to pull them down.
So what it reminds me of is I saw this. I forgot where I saw it, but I saw it one day where they had these monkeys, and they had these bananas that were at the top of this thing. And basically, what happened is the bananas were at the top. All the monkeys had to do was climb to the top in order to get the bananas. But slowly but surely, what happened is they started putting caps, making it seem as though that the monkeys could not get there. All of a sudden, they took the monkeys out from the original experiment. They put these new monkeys in there. The new monkeys did not look at the bananas. They didn't do anything. They never tried to get them because now they were conditioned to not want to strive for more. They didn't want to strive to get the bananas. And I believe that it's the same thing that happens in our community. We are being conditioned to not want to strive for more. We are being conditioned in a way where we are not, now it's like, oh, well, people want to pretend as if Black hair is in. Anything that's Black is in when it has a monetary value attached to it. Juneteenth now is in because there's a monetary value attached to it. Black hair is in because if there's a monetary value attached to it. So anytime that there's a monetary value for the higher echelon people to benefit from it, then of course they want you to, they want to be able to help you. Go ahead, Regina, because I see you trying to jump in there.
Well, I try, but I want to make sure y'all land y'all ships too. And I love to say that. But one of the things that you look at when we're talking about generational trauma, generational curses, generational baggage, what you have to look at is, so with the new monkeys that came in, or whether it is with the new dog that was birthed out of that dog, there was still a lesson that was taught within the womb, right? And so they within the womb began to simulate to that which the elders, the mothers, the fathers have been affected by. So when we're talking about whether it's us moving forward through the war on drugs, where we're talking about the side effects that came out of slavery, because there was a people at one time, right, that you don't read a book, you don't pick up a book. I can tell y'all generationally, there was a point within my family, my grandmother is the daughter removed from the slavery piece. And so grandmother's belief is you go to work. You don't go to school. So the teaching was go to work. You can go to school all day, but going to school ain't going to provide for your family right now. And so I seen in families where it was go to school, where families it was be educated, there was a handout, there was a study that was done that if the grandfather completed high school, it was more likely for the children to complete college based off of grandfather, not even based off of father. So again, happy Father's Day, you great, wonderful fathers and grandfathers. But when you get that happening, you got to understand that we are gatekeepers. And when I say gatekeepers, you're a gatekeeper of your bloodline. You're a gatekeeper within your community. And it may be a word that's spoken by you that breaks chains off of someone else so they are able to move forward. But a lot of times we're saying, okay, they listen to these music, they hear these things, they see these things, right? We said that, but those are practices. Those are practices. My belief is what I call relaxing. And I told y'all earlier with that in our season, what I call relaxing is being intentional. Relaxation for me is intentional with my time and my space. Relaxation is not going to sit in front of the TV and kick my feet up and watch a whole bunch of junk. I was about to say a cuss word. Thank you, Lord. But watch a whole bunch of junk. You get what I'm saying? Relaxation is intentional. This is relaxation where we get and we're having conversations that are broadening our horizons and pushing us, or going to eat or visit places that I've never been before that are not my norm, because I don't want my bloodline to know what the norm is for a Black American. I want my bloodline to know what the norm is for a queen in America, because I am queen, baby. Hold on. Let me calm down a little bit, because y'all know I get to rushing into some stuff. But let's back up over here. One of the things that we have to look at is the crab piece, where they're crawling out of this little burrow, which they ain't supposed to be in, which we ain't supposed to be boxed in. Limits and limitations were never made for us, right? We are supposed to have access to everything. We are creators. We are world changers. Our mind was made to be thinking. Our mind was made to be completing, not competing. And so some of us get stuck in a state where we're competing with somebody else. But if your difference really makes the difference, and if you were made unique and you were made whole, how are you competing to look like or be like anybody else? It's time. So when I think about the whole thing of Juneteenth, for me, like that beginning point as a kid, I came in contact and began to learn lessons on it. But the big thing it kept giving to me is, it's your difference that makes the difference. And with freedom, there's a responsibility. And Regina, you could have been dead. Your mom knew giving birth, my birth mother knew giving birth to me that she could go. She knew it. She left. She left this earth and went into, she up there chilling with Jesus. I don't even know what that looked like, but they out there chilling, looking at me talking about, I told you what she was going to be like. But if she wouldn't have went, then that means I would have had to go. You get what I'm saying? Somebody would have had to go, but she decided to give me freedom in the earth realm. And with freedom comes responsibility. People want to be free, but people want to be lazy. People want to be free, but people want to keep saying what Master said or what she said or he said or what the TV said. Did you go taste and see if it was good for yourself? Did you try it for yourself? Did you experiment it for yourself? Did you research it for yourself? Right? So you had people who are in disagreement with something because mama and them said and daddy and them said, but let's go back to this. If I bought this whole fat 20-pound ham, I don't even eat ham, but I buy this whole fat 25-pound ham. I got my little pineapple juice with brown sugar. I done made my whole little mix up. You know what I'm saying? My cherries on the side. I didn't mix it up. I didn't glaze it all up. And I'm going to cut 10 pounds off of my ham? Bro, no, I'm not cutting 10 pounds off of that ham. Why y'all want me to cut that ham up? And come to find out, you find out they're cutting the ham up all the way back because the pan wasn't big enough when grandma was cooking the ham. The pan wasn't big enough. Grandma, like, if I would have had a bigger pan, why y'all fools cutting up the ham like that? We would have had all that in there.
But that's because that's what they saw.
And didn't ask no questions. Ask not, receive not. As a man thinketh, so is he. So you being a fool, wasting your money, and you and wasted. Grandma was doing it the way she was doing it because grandma was working out for 5 cents. You over here working out for 50,000, and you sitting there acting like you only got 5 cents. What's wrong with you, fool?
But you have to remember, especially being a kid, you were taught you don't ask questions. At least when I was a kid, we were taught you don't ask questions. Oh, because I told you to.
And
that's what I was told.
That came from the plantation.
Because I said so.
It came from the plantation. It ain't no different. And people walking around church going like this. What's you holding your finger up for? You gotta go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom. You holding your finger up because in the field, so that the master could know where they was holding their finger up.
But you know what? We talked about it when Tish was on here. What is it? Post-slavery depression,
post-traumatic slavery.
Post-traumatic slavery. Post-traumatic slavery. Now, what's interesting about that is people are most times unaware of the things that they do that negatively impacts them, that they continuously perpetuate and pass down to their lineage. Prime example, one of the things that I hate, and when I tell you this, and hate is a strong word, but one of the things that I hate is when someone looks at a little girl and they'll go, "You need a perm." First of all, she don't need nothing, not a thing, because the hair that grows out of her scalp is beautiful. And what really gets me is the fact that it's that type of stupidity. I can't even think of a better way to put it. I'm sorry. It's that type of stupidity that is passed down that causes our little girls to feel as if they are not beautiful because they're not told that they have good hair. And I remember when I was younger, I was always told I had good hair. And I remember one day I was like, "So what is bad hair?" And someone couldn't, nappy hair. So when you think about it, and there's always good. If you got good, you got bad. If you got hot, you got cold. So when you look at that type of stuff, these are just little things that are passed down, because now what you've just done is you planted a seed in that little girl's head and told her that her hair is not beautiful. Now, even in her adult years, she's going to mutilate herself to try and fit a beauty standard that is beneath her. Because her beauty, everybody is their own standard of beauty. When I was modeling, when I was younger, I modeled from 14 to 19. It was all about being skinny, tall, and making sure that you had you were aesthetically pleasing to look at. Now, you don't necessarily have to fit that mold, because there is beauty in every size. There's beauty in every shape. And when you think about what goes on now, these same people need to see you for who you are. And I think that these are just little things that are still being passed down. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just, even when you said that and you brought that up about some of the comments that are made and fed to young girls, but young men are fed these comments of, "You're going to be just like your daddy. That's all you're going to ever. You ain't tall enough. You ain't built enough. You too skinny. You broke. Your family was broke. Your daddy was broke. Your granddaddy gone broke. You're going to always be broke." You already hit this kid over the head before you ever gave them an opportunity to go after their dreams and ambitions. I know as a young girl, one of the things was told to me, I remember it, like I'm sitting back there. One of the things was I had already been molested once by then. Actually, I had been molested 2 times by then. And I remember when my body began to form in shape, I already had the little hips or whatever. But when it began to come into a shape, you trying to be grown. Now, hold on. How am I trying to be grown? I didn't ask my body to do this. You trying to go put some clothes on. Now, everybody wearing the same clothes running around, and because they built like sticks, but then I had to really sit in that. Think about when people are trying to keep people safe, sometimes they say stupid stuff. And on a plantation, when I started to develop, if I would have been, back then, what I'm saying, thicker than a snicker, mister would have tried to come visit me or try to take me and sell me off so somebody can make me for some babies, or had a black body male break me pretty much because he mates him with me because he needs to make somewhere because the body looks developed. And so I think about how what sometimes we feel as protection is actually the devastation of a young person's mind and their self-imagery. And I watch myself, I publicly, I say I had to go through the fact where I didn't want my body to be seen, or I went through the fact where I was overly judging my body, over judging my shape. And it was always like, okay, well, I ain't gonna wear that. You go to the store and you're like, ooh, this look good. Ooh, I ain't gonna wear that because somebody gonna say something. I don't want to do this. And I remember even as a married woman in that marriage, there was a piece of bondage, and it was bondage of like trying to make sure I feel this role that I had never been trained to understand the role of. So I was trying to be wife to somebody and didn't even know what a wife was supposed to be like. And so I'm sitting there trying to make sure I don't offend this man or I don't bother this man. But come to be, truth be told, he didn't know what it was to be a husband because there wasn't no training and development for the husband. So you had tug of war within your marriage. When a marriage is supposed to be you two connected together, y'all tugging a war with each other because y'all got all this brokenness that came before, or a lack of understanding, and you don't know who to go to and ask.
So interestingly enough, you're talking about marriage. Let's slide that on over to being a parent. Parenting does not come with a manual. So you have people out here that have probably had kids before they were even. First, we all know you have to love yourself before you can love anybody else.
Come on.
So you take an adult who doesn't even love themselves, doesn't have themselves figured out yet, doesn't really have good goals and aspirations for themselves. You add a child to that. There's no parenting manual. So now you got parents trying to get it figured out, and folks wonder why certain things are not passed down through certain generations.
Like I said, one of the biggest thing is people, the biases, like we have these, and I really can see them walking out because it came a time for people to be free who were not prepared to be free. They had become so accustomed to operating in bondage and limitations that there was no preparation for freedom. And really to be, you talking about they gonna give them an acre and a mule. Well, an acre and a mule, and who gonna buy my products? Are you really gonna give me the acre and a mule? First off, and then who gonna buy my stuff? But then you see those that were in some format able to submit somewhat, to go through the process, who end up having some generational wealth that came out of their bondage. But you seen the ones that was all the way thug rebellion, who, they just walked out, hey, we free, dog, let's go. But just the other day I was reading, again, I was going through a piece on how the word is passed, and you find that people literally, like, just think about you get told you free, and then you all of a sudden got people chasing you. You got bills coming at, because y'all know I'll go into more of it. You got bills coming after you all of a sudden that you didn't even realize it was that much of a bill coming after you. You got lies coming after you where people downloaded stuff in the community. You thought once you got free, you was going to be able to get the job you wanted to get. But when you tried to get to the job, they already had a story about you that you didn't even know they had about you. You try to get into another relationship and allow yourself to heal from the last relationship. But now you brought everything that you had from the last, from when you was isolated in confusion, it's going with you into the relationship, and you sitting in a relationship talking about how I get through this, how am I supposed to function, how am I supposed to build when I got all this with me, and I just see them with all this weight on their backs and all this lack of understanding in their minds, and you take them out there, and now they got to go figure it out for themselves, and you go, well, it was better to just stay with him. He was beating me, but it was better to just stay with him. He was taking everything from me. They didn't see me, but if I stayed right there with them, I wouldn't have had to fight right here. And then you dead.
Well, see, I'm sorry, but I think that, and her name escapes me. I can't think of her name to save my life, but But I know once I say her quote, I know you gonna know, child. If don't nobody else know, you gonna know. Okay. She said, I would have been able to save more slaves if they, and I'm paraphrasing, I would have been able to save more slaves, more people, if they knew that they were actually enslaved.
Was it Sojourner Truth or Harriet Tubman?
That's exactly what I was about to say. I think it's Sojourner Truth.
Yeah. So, no, it was yeah. I think it was the Truth Lady. So what was so interesting is that I think it's the same thing in today's time. We'd be able to help so many more people if they realized where they were, if they realized what was actually in them. Most people are okay with being content and living a life of mediocrity. Most people are content with where they are, which is the reason that they have not progressed and moved past where they are. I always tell people everybody is not meant to be a business owner. Everybody is not meant to be a doctor, a lawyer. This is why we have people that work at McDonald's. This is why we have people that are sanitation workers. This is why we have janitors. Everyone fits somewhere in society. But depending on where you fit in society depends on how far you are willing to think. Depending on how you think will lead you to the life that you are ultimately going to have. If you want to continue the life that you have, continue to keep doing the same thing that you're doing. But if you want something more, then you have to step out of who you are and become someone that you've never been before. I remember I watched this movie, and it's one of my favorite movies. It's called The Prince and Me. One of my favorite lines from that movie was, "Who are you?" She says, "I'm Paige Morgan." She said, "Paige Morgan can no longer exist. You have to sacrifice who you are for who you must be." And that is the problem that we have in today's society. People are not willing to sacrifice who they are. They're not willing to sacrifice who they know that they've been all of this time because that is comfortable for them. They'd rather hold on to their comfortability than to step out into the unknown to become the person that they know that they are meant to become, but they are not going to do that. Go ahead, Ebony, because I see that you're about to get into it.
Go, Ebony.
I am 100% agreeing with you. People are so afraid of change because they are way more focused on what they're going to lose instead of what they could gain.
Yeah, girl,
folks don't like change. You know, the best example of this is folks are always asking, why does a woman that has experienced domestic violence keep going back? Because she's used to that. Because that's comfortable for her. Because she knows how to work that situation. There's going to be some pain, but that's normal. Unfortunately, after a certain amount of time, having to deal with that is normal. To make a change means to make a change means I'm going to be absent of my normality. And there are folks that are not ready to step out of their comfort zone. How many times have we heard, in order to succeed or progress, you're going to have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable?
Come on.
You know, that's my lander right there, Ebony. I love that because I use that so much. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes.
Just last week, I asked for an updated resume of my life. And I literally looked at this resume and I said, I can't update this. I'm going to have to do a whole new one. Because within the last year and a half, what I've done within the last 2 years does not align with what I was doing for the last 25 years. And it's like, and the thing that I see that was different about it was I was willing to step out there. I was willing to go and be uncomfortable. The last 2 years of my life, when we talk about get comfortable, being uncomfortable, I can't tell you nothing about my life that was like, oh, this is alignment. Even us saying, I'm going to jump out on this ship with Prince, Ebony, and Tokyo. That was another thing, like get comfortable, being uncomfortable. You're going to have to figure this out. Changing jobs, leading through protests. You know what I'm saying? Standing up with Black Lives Matter at one point. Like I can go thing after thing after thing, like investing in a coach. You know what I'm saying? Like We going, I'm a single mom. Ain't nobody got time for no coach. These kids got to graduate. I got to full feed them. I got to shelter them. I got this I got to do. And if you want something, you got to do something. If you want something different, you're going to have to do something to get something different. And your friends that you're sitting around, pretty much all y'all make about the same amount of money. All y'all pretty much got the same way of thinking. If you keep sitting around them, you're going to stay with them. And if you want better, you're going to have to do better. So,
baby,
Regina,
what God has for you
is
for you, and everybody can go. Don't get me started.
I'm telling you, if y'all looked at my walls in my room, don't think this. If you look at this little picture right here, you can almost see the sky, the heavens hitting the water, like everything colliding together. Why? Because you were made to soar. I wasn't made to stay grounded. When I was in St. Lucia, I was sitting out in that water a couple years ago, and I'm out there in that river. I mean, not river, the ocean, y'all. And the water, I can see the bottom, right? I can see all the way to the bottom of where I'm at. Not only can I see all the way to the bottom where I'm at, I can see where the sky is meeting the water at. Like I'm sitting out here, right? The wind's blowing. I see people actively just doing their thing. Ain't nobody comparing themselves to nobody. You got the fishermen out there. They knew they went to fish. I don't want to get more fish than nobody else. I just want to get my fish. Then you look out, the trees is doing what the trees do. The grass is doing what the grass do. And I'm sitting in this water going, I'm made for more. I gotta get more. I gotta do better. That was a shaking of the mindset. That was freedom, right? That was a moment of freedom where it was like, what you gonna do about this, right? And so think about these people getting free and they're taking the steps to move forward. But once you take the step to move forward and you realize you're free, now what you gonna do about that? Because it's responsibility with freedom, right? Now you got to start reading books that intentionally line up with where you want to go, right? Now you got to start having conversations and making friendships and connections with people that are on the road, not that they coming along behind you, but they on the road already projected before you, right? They already good at this or they good at that. And so if you're the best person in the room that you standing in, are you really good for anything?
Y'all ever wonder why there's so many re-offenders into the prison system?
Hold on. Oh my God.
After a certain period of time, that is what you know.
I know.
If you are not transitioned properly, you will find yourself right back where you started.
Hold on, baby. I picked up a quote today, and I promise you this quote aligned with what you just said, boo. Oh, God, let me find it. Y'all know I'll be looking for quotes.
Mentors.
You know what's so interesting?
Mentors are so essential. They are so essential.
So I actually have a thing that I write down quotes in as well. So I think that's interesting, Regina. Go ahead, hon.
So the quote is by W.E. Du Bois, and the quote is actually speaking about it's speaking about like the slaves have gotten free. Pretty much is saying that they've been freed, but here we go, baby. I know I was about to bring it in. He says the slaves went free, stood a brief moment in the sun, then moved back again towards slavery. When it got hard, when they had to feel it, when they couldn't deal with it no more, when they kept hearing their friends say, girl, if I was you, I'd just go back to them. At least your bills was paid and you didn't have to worry about where your meals was going to come from. Man, the streets always been good to you, dog. Why you up here trying to go into being an entrepreneur and own a business when you know if you was out there selling that work like you was selling that work, money was going to come in because it's always somebody that's coming to buy work for you. Come on. Man, I might as well just stay in the hood and just stay right where I was, man. Because I mean, all I was paying was such and such. Now they moved all the way out here. This ain't even my type of living. It is your type of living. You were made for greater. You were made to be better. But now, since people in your ear and you still trying to hang with all the people that you used to be with, now they bringing you back down. I ain't trying to go back in the barrel. I don't want to go back in the limits and limitations. I was meant to go global, baby. And guess what? I don't care, bro. I'm gone. You want to stay? Okay, you stay. I'm gone. And I think that's where we got to get to. You stay and I'm gone, because after a while they're going to get comfortable, right? They're going to get uncomfortable in that place because they're seeing you go and they're going to show up, right? They want to know, Regina, who are you to get an honorary doctorate? Who are you, Miss Regina, that you're putting on revivals and conferences? Who are you that you breaking bread with directors? Baby, I was made to soar. That's who I am. My name's Regina Denise Vassar Platt, baby. And I was made to soar.
The stepologist.
Hold on. The stepologist. And the reason I'm called the stepologist, boo, is because I take steps. I stopped trying to eat it all. And I started trying to just work this step, baby. I can do it one step at a time, one quote at a time, one conversation at a time, one creation at a time. Baby, it'll work if I work it.
Come on.
Are you willing to work you?
Come on.
Me. Come on.
Come on. Come on. Preach, preacher. Preach, preacher.
Take us up out of here, baby.
Go ahead, girl. Get us up out of here, because baby, you said a mouthful. And honey, I don't think that now one of us need to say nothing else. Girl, get on us up out of here. Regina, because baby, you just said that.
Thank you again for joining us tonight on the chat, baby. When you get here, you get real, authentic conversation with real game changers who are willing to awaken you to your next boo. We look forward to you tapping in next time. We gone now. Bye-bye.